Hi, I'm Joshua Vail with Braves TV, and I'm here with Ryan Lewis, the Director of Forensics at Ottawa University. So Ryan, first question, basically, what is forensics?
What is forensics? Well, really, it's about somebody standing in a corner and screaming to themselves in funny voices for at least 10 minutes at a time. No, actually, forensics is this great program that combines a lot of different attributes of speech into a competitive forum. So it is the combination of interpretive process, something like acting, in addition to platform speaking, research, writing, performing, competing.
What did you do before this, before you were instructor here at Ottawa?
Well, this is my second career. Forensics has always been in my life. I've been doing it for the last 15 years, but I was having to do it as a freelance person in New York because right after college I moved to New York and took a job at MTV Networks. And I worked,
wow.
Yeah, I worked there for about five years. I interned first, and then it turned into a job, and I was doing a lot of post-production work because my undergraduate work was in film. And so I was working on a lot of different projects in post-production world, and then I moved into the international realm where I completed my tenure there as the programming coordinator for the international television channels. So I worked on VH1 and MTV News and Nickelodeon, sometimes Comedy Central. And sometimes I got to work as a production coordinator, so I would go to some of the events, the Video Music Awards, the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and sort of coordinate how the international teams were responding there. You know, set up their interviews, make sure they weren't molesting celebrities on the orange or red carpet, depending on what the event was. You know, like, because there are different cultures, and so how you do something in Beijing or Tokyo is different than how you would do it in LA or New York. So we sort of educate them about their possibilities and what they can do and what they can't do and what American laws are, and just make sure that they are all within the boundaries. And so that was pretty fun. A lot of it was very technical. I did a lot of work on the HD changeover because we have HD television in America now, and it's also international, but at the same time everybody has different standards. So my job was in effect to sync them up and to find new ways to get information out there a lot faster. So a lot of communication, which is sort of why I ended up here. I did my undergraduate work in film production, and then when I moved to New York, I used that in television, but also I worked on a couple of films. Actually, one of the films I worked for won an Academy Award. It's a documentary called Born into Brothels, and I was a post-production intern on that film. So I'm not in the credits, but it's definitely on my resume. And then I did my master's work in Long Island while I was working, so I would commute out to the island every day or every other day at Hofstra University. So after I finished my master's, then I came here.
What's your favorite thing about Ottawa University?
What is my favorite thing about Ottawa University? Well, I really love that both faculty and staff, because it's a nice, small-sized university, have the opportunity to participate in just about any activity that they want. And it's not just about participation, it's also about creation. I got here and I had the opportunity to coach forensics and be involved with a lot of different students, but then as I got to know my students, I got involved in other organizations that they feel passionate about, and then I was able to take the lead and do different things on campus that promoted what I liked, and we had an opportunity to bring different artists on campus. And so now we're trying to create this music environment. I'm trying to use my experience in music, television, to sort of coordinate music events on campus and find a happy medium so that I'm feeling like I'm still using all of the skills that I've learned over the past few years in order to make the environment here a little bit more wild. Because, I mean, I know, rural Kansas, woo! It's pretty fun here. I like the small feel, and I like that we get to make our own fun, and I like that it's different for each person, and you get to make that experience yourself.
So what other activities besides forensics are you involved with on campus?
Oh wow, like I just love being able to do all these different activities. We started up a poetry slam last year, and so we've got all of these students coming in and just selling their ideas to a crowd in this performative context, which I think is really fun. Of course, it gets kind of wild after a while. People, you take all the rules away and you see what people say. It's really amazing because that's the stuff that's really eating away at them. They want to get that stuff out, and that we offer that venue for them to do just exactly that. We're trying to start a improv comedy team, and the idea behind it is that we would travel around a little bit to see different comedy shows and get experience, maybe compete against other schools. Same thing with Slam. I'm also involved in the Forensics Club. I'm very active in a lot of local government initiatives, things like that. Like, because it's small, it's just so easy to get cross-involved. Right. Yeah, I'm the co-director of the student group SWAN, which is a welcoming and affirming network for diversity on campus. And just whatever else comes down the pipe, I'll be ready for it.
So, how did you get from MTV to this small town college?
Rural Kansas?
Yes, to rural Kansas.
I get to ask that question a lot. People are like, "Oh, you must have got canned." No, I didn't at all, actually. While I was there, because I was working really long hours, and I was working a lot of different events, and I was going back and forth. And it was great, and I loved the life in New York. I mean, I love going to a deli at 3 o'clock in the morning and being able to get one of those huge egg salad sandwiches. And I don't know, just the idea that it's there is great. But I realized that I wasn't fulfilling a part of my life that I felt like I really needed to be. And what I realized that part of my life was that I felt like I wasn't really getting my hands dirty in New York. The things that I care about, the things about education and getting people involved and getting people to understand the world in which they live, doesn't really occur a whole lot in New York because it's so very much centered on a specific type of culture, this New York culture. And so I knew that if I was going to make a difference, I had to come to a place that I felt comfortable in and had a lot more of that diversity of idea, And I went back to school. I got my master's while I was working at MTV in speech and rhetoric, and I started talking to my old forensics coach because he's my mentor, and so we talk fairly regularly, and he was talking about the different jobs that were available. I went to a conference in Chicago with my school, and then the division chair of communication met with me and asked me if I'd be interested, and I said, would I be interested in moving from Manhattan to basically Manhattan, Kansas? And I said, no, thanks. But she invited me out, and I came down here for an interview, and I just fell in love with the place. I just remembered growing up in the Midwest and having that sort of collective feeling of, pride and excitement. And, I love random stuff on the side of the roads. I'm a big roadside attraction person. I just got back from a weekend and I saw the world's tallest Jolly Green Giant statue. But in Kansas, I noticed we had this museum. It was the first thing I saw when I came to the town. And I went in, and it was just this thing that everybody was so excited to be presenting this information. It wasn't the Met, it wasn't MoMA, it wasn't the Natural History Museum in New York, but it had that same sense of bigness and pride, and I felt like, okay, this is exactly what I could be doing. And so I came, and I got involved, and I realized that forensics had always been a part of my life. I was always using my vacation time at MTV to come back to some tournament here or there, spending a week in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or St. Louis, Missouri, or Warrensburg, Missouri, or who knows, Shreveport, Louisiana. And so here now I'm able to combine my love of education and learning, continued learning, with forensics, with traveling, with, constantly creating new friendships, which you do on a national circuit, like the one that we're on. And just to add, I would also recommend Ottawa University, because not only does it have a place for you, but all of the little programs that are offered here allow people to find themselves in it. So I recommend Ottawa University, but I also recommend Ottawa University's forensics. There's a place for anybody here.
If you want to know more about Ottawa University forensics, you can go to Facebook and type in Ottawa Forensics. I feel good about that one.
Good. That was good.
Okay.